Hey guys, my name's Steve Walter. Today I wanted to talk to you about shooting in black and white only. It's time for our Tuesday Tips. So let me clarify. On your digital camera, you should have a setting that allows you to modify your picture profile or your picture mode. Depending upon the manufacturer of your camera, it might be called something different. I'm shooting with a Canon camera and they specifically call it a picture style. So what that does is that allows you to change things like your contrast, your saturation, your color toning, sharpness, things like that. Basically, how would you see your JPEGs on the back of your screen, or if you were saving on your memory card JPEG files, what would they look like? Now what you can do is you can actually set this to, and again on the Canon they call it monochrome, yours might be called black and white. And there you can choose to only have just a black and white image. Now again, what this would be doing is this would be saving a JPEG file, if you were recording to JPEG, as a black and white only. But if you're recording a RAW file, it shows you the JPEG preview on the back of the screen, but saves a RAW file. So what you can do is you can have the benefit, and this is why I wanted to bring it up, because the idea came about through actually a fellow photographer, John Stewart. We were talking about street photography and how in street photography, primarily they're gonna shoot in black and white because what they're doing is they're looking for tones. They don't wanna be distracted by color. They're looking for, in a lot of cases, really hard, harsh light, and then that from there becomes an interesting element. So what you want to do is strip away the color and only focus on the black and white and the tones. So setting your camera to black and white will allow you to preview that after you've taken the shot to see, are you getting the tones that you want, right? Do you need to adjust your exposure based on those tones, not about color information at all? And the topic of discussion was, hey, have you ever shot black and white on your camera? And I said, yeah, I do it all the time. When I know my final output, I'm intending for it to be black and white. Now sometimes I don't know, so shooting in color is fine, but knowing that you can shoot in monochrome and not lose any color information is kind of a fun way for you to explore and experiment with shooting in just black and white. So I want to demonstrate with our lovely friend here. So I'm just going to move her over here in a position. We're going to go ahead and see if we've got some nice settings, and we'll take a shot and see what it looks like. It's okay. I mean, really the scenario that I have right here is not ideal for a black and white photo. I would like maybe a little harsher light or maybe a darker background. But again, this is just for illustrative purposes. So if I make some adjustments, and in this case, I'm actually going to adjust my white balance. And believe it or not, adjusting your white balance will actually give you a slightly different black and white image because it is pushing color around. So that will give you a slightly different exposure. And let me go one more here, maybe make it a little bit darker. Boom. Cool. So now I have these images on my camera, and if I look at them, they're in black and white, right? And that's what I want to see, is I want to see them in black and white because I want to look at the back of the camera and know, am I getting that tone that I want? Now, I'm going to turn this off, pop this guy out, open it up in Lightroom, and you'll see that the color information is there, but we can, again, go back to convert it to black and white and process it the way we want. So let's do that now. So I found the files that I wanted. I'm going to choose to copy them, and I'm just going to put them loose here in my pictures folder. These are going to get imported into my catalog, and what I'll see is the way that I choose to import them, it's actually preserving that JPEG preview. I told it to show me that embedded preview, and that's why I have this little icon in the top left corner. So if I double click on this, it's going to show me those black and white images. So here I can see, and maybe I do like, I think this one's fine. Yeah, this one's good. So I can look at this. Now watch what happens when I hit the D key and go into the develop module. What it's going to do is it's actually going to process this image as a RAW file. So Lightroom's going to say, okay, I'm looking at the RAW file and now I'm going to render that for you. And I look at it and I go, ew, that's bad. That's clearly the color is way off. I could go choose to set that to auto and see if it does a better job. There it is. And you could even look at it and say, well, that's really underexposed. But again, I was shooting for black and white. So my approach in this and my thought behind this is that if you guys want to work on shooting in black and white, set your profile to that, and then when you come back in here, hit the V key, as in Victor, and then now it switches your image to black and white. The first thing I recommend when working with a black and white file is come down to here in Lightroom, the B&W section, and this is where you can adjust individual sliders for their luminosity. And here now I can start to go in and refine, how do I want this black and white image to look? Also, you can go into the tone curve, you can go into all these other sliders, but I like going to this black and white section here. We didn't really have much color in this image. Imagine if your scene had a lot more color, you would really be able to dynamically adjust how bright and dark all of those values are with this B&W section. So if I go back to the basic, you want to crank your contrast. Let's go ahead and open up this exposure slightly, bring my blacks down, open up those whites, and then now I can see I have, a black and white image that's a little bit more interesting. So again, the whole idea behind this was to inspire you guys to shoot in black and white. Thank you to John Stewart for making that suggestion and inspiring me to create this. If you guys have some thoughts, comments, feedback for Tuesday tips, or just anything photographically or creatively in general, send me a comment. I'm happy to reply. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you next week.